Anyway, I have a source I call Traveler. I have another source I call General Lee. Which, ironically, General Lee had a horse named Traveler. Anyway, but this source is a deep undercover, very, very, very good at their craft. Anyway, they just told me, well, not today, yesterday they told me that, and I didn't quite catch it until just now, that the Secret Service, that is the American Secret Service, not the British Secret Service, but the American Secret Service, is a little bit biffed at me for posting things on the internet and contacting law enforcement and or my boss, General Petraeus. I have to ask you, General Petraeus was the director of the Central Intelligence Agency for a while, but then according to press reports, he got involved with a woman, and then because it was a security breach, the FBI investigated, and he resigned, and they're still investigating him. But here's the thing: he's not out of the game. He's still in the game, right? So let me ask you this: there was a movie called Skyfall. Ironically, my code name is Windfall, but maybe that's just a coincidence. But anyway, in Skyfall, a former Central Intelligence Agency operative named Silva decided that he wanted to kill M and destroy MI6, aka the British Secret Service. Anyway, James Bond was already officially dead, even though he wasn't dead. He was out fornicating and drinking, which is usually a good thing. But then, all of a sudden, this Silva, later it was revealed Silva, basically destroyed MI6. I mean, blew up the fucking building. Whole thing, excuse my French. And literally, the entire, and if you look at books like by John Le Carre, they call the MI6 or the British Secret Service the circus. Anyway, the circus had to leave and go find new digs. They literally had to transplant themselves and reinvent themselves. So let's say that's fiction, okay? But let's say sometimes fiction is very truthful, and so let's suppose that this is a treatment for a screenplay. Let's just call it that. Call a spade a spade. But anyway, let's say that the CIA was so deeply compromised by moles and such that they actually had to pretty much decamp. That means bug out, leave. They had to take all their assets that they could trust and leave, and they had to set up shop somewhere else. But it would have to be kind of like it would be the CIA, but it would be only ex-CIA. There would be no official. It's like me. I'm a knock, so there's no official cover. So that's it. So I'm just going to tell you straight out. Though I do work for the CIA, and I am an operations officer, and I am therefore, in some weird world, a knock. That is, I have no official cover. Knock knock. There's actually in places I don't know, but someplace, another agency, and it isn't actually anchored in the U.S., but is a lot cleaner than the CIA was before. No, strike that. Is a lot cleaner than the CIA is now, because unfortunately the CIA is riddled with moles. So to remedy that problem, I believe the president, God bless you, President Obama, authorized, maybe through a secret finding, the decampment, the bug out of the CIA and most of their assets, and authorized David Petraeus, General David Petraeus, to head this new off-site CIA, sort of like a shadow CIA. A shadow CIA. Anyway, I was informed yesterday by my source, codenamed Traveler, that yes, indeed, there is a there's a device, a nuclear device, a tactical nuclear shell, codenamed Davy Crockett, which only had a yield of possibly 1 kiloton, maybe even less than that. But it was a tactical nuclear shell. It would be fired from maybe a 205 millimeter cannon. But anyway, it was stolen approximately 1970 or 1971, probably about the time of the Kent State shootings. Governor Rhodes authorized its theft and removal from the depository. Anyway, but this device has been sold initially by the people that had it, which was, of course, unfortunately, turned out to be the Soviets, KGB, because they had great sway in the United States. Not many people know the Soviet Union controlled the United States for many, many years through a sort of a shadow. I don't know, they're like a puppet master. But anyway, this tactical nuclear shell was transferred first to the Middle East, where it was considered too hot to stay there. So because they thought the Israelis would bomb the hell out of somebody if they found out they had it. So they removed it to Ireland, where the provisional IRA held it in safekeeping until the time it was needed. Well, the provisional IRA had the Belfast Accords. They had to agree with the Belfast Accords, and they made peace. Anyway, peace be upon you, and also with you, and all that shit. You like Catholics? Yeah, they're okay. Long and short, these incredibly brilliant scientists that, basically have found a way to use a multiplier. In other words, they multiply the yield of this tactical nuclear shell by a factor of 10,000. In addition, they've also added extra, I guess you say, weapons-grade material to it. So already, with the addition of the weapons-grade material, and assuming it's a functional weapon, which it is, they already had a pretty good yield, possibly 2 to 4 kilotons. So quite a lot. But still, it's in the tactical range. But with the multiplier, they were able to increase the yield by a factor of 10,000. So they brought the yield up between 2 and 4 megaton. So now, the people that have this weapon, that has a potential yield of between 2 and 4 megaton, using this multiplier, which is kind of like, like Sandia and Livermore National Laboratories and Los Alamos. They've been toying with this for a long time, trying to use a multiplier to enhance a given weapon. I'm not sure how it works, but the multiplier now is already installed in and around this tactical shell. The tactical shell itself is small, quite small, and so it's able to be secreted in a large suitcase and dropped off at some hotel in the Bahamas, possibly in the UK, possibly in London, possibly at Washington D.C.'s National Airport. All kinds of possibilities. Now, Traveler has not indicated where the potential target is, but this organization, I don't even call them Al-Qaeda, really. I mean, they're kind of like Al-Qaeda, but I don't know. They call them the unknowns. They're the unknowns. They have a really special character to them. Stinks. But anyway, so that's one of the problems. The other problem is that there's traditional weapons the terrorists use. Mortars, the IRA was famous for using mortars against the British. In fact, I think one time they mortared 10 Downing Street, which is, of course, the Prime Minister's official residence in London. But I think, according to not Traveler, but another source, that they're using potentially missiles, that is, handheld missiles, kind of like a Stinger or an RPG, or something that can fire from a distance and be fairly accurate. And they're going to use these missiles at a time of their choosing against their favorite target, which is, of course, the White House. Now, there's where things get hot, because when I start talking about the White House, I'm in Dutch. I mean, seriously, not Dutch Schultz, not Sergeant Schultz, not Stalag 17, not anything, not Hogan's Heroes. But I gotta be careful to couch this whole little snippet of a video in the framework of a film that I have in mind of making, because I am a filmmaker. My film company is called Mercury Grass Films. It was incorporated in Ohio at one time. Now it's incorporated in Washington State. We're making a movie. Anyway, I just thought I'd render that out. The time is approximately 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And today's date is, of course, November 22nd, 1963. Like that? Yes, you do. I know you like it. Kiss, kiss, love, love, bang, bang.